clash. Jake and Spaz, Cody's flash. Wrestling love maps its place. Determined grit in every face. We all believe in Joe Hendry's name. Fighting through the fire in the wrestling game. Hardy soar like the legends they define. Knockouts fight her power lines.
What's going on, ladies and gents? Jake, aka Countdown Ended, coming to you live once again. Hopefully everybody's doing well on this Monday evening. Raw was quite a success. They had a hell of a show, really kind of laying out what's going for the future of Monday Night Raw and WWE as a whole. Seth Rollins has his vision. They made the claims that it's just a bloodline again, but isn't every faction? We've got a lot to break down, and as always, I'm not alone. I've got one crazy motherfucker here with me. That's right, Cody's in the house. How you doing, my friend?
Doing great. I thought Monday Night Raw was good tonight. I
really enjoyed it.
Show.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know people on the IWC will always try to shit on it, which sometimes I don't blame WWE why they don't listen to them anymore, because a bunch of negative Nancy's on there and you can't make anyone happy.
No, you certainly can't. And granted, after a really decent TNA show last night, we did review Rebellion. Yeah, that's a mouthful. And I had to play the intro one more time because I really love that. And we all believe in Joe Hendry. But my God, this was a very good Raw. A lot of non-finishes, and they're basically building towards the future, but a lot of stories that I'm into. I was actually genuinely surprised that I enjoyed a Becky Lynch heel promo. That's right. Usually, it's not that I'm not a fan of her, but just her promo style doesn't always hit well. But when you're speaking the truth, they're making sense. They touch back on things. They give people now real gripes, real reasons to be upset. She was attacked in 2019. Is where we wouldn't pay attention to someone turning face and not really apologizing, like Roman, like Bayley. Bayley's another one. She did all this terrible stuff and damaged Qatar, and then they went ahead and turned her face because they kicked her out. She never really had that full turn. And Lyra had the chance to really have the crowd eat out of her hand tonight, but didn't really live up to that opportunity. I know Paul and a few others messaged me on that one, but right off the bat, I just want to go ahead and say, even if it wasn't for me, my ego is that big. I'm going to take credit for it. I am certainly, that much of an egotistic bastard. No, honestly, I saw the "Hey Jake" sign in the crowd. A bunch of people messaged me. So if anyone was there live tonight that wants to take credit for that, we appreciate it. Hit me up on Twitter at Countdown Ended. They were live from Kansas City, Missouri, and the crowd was damn good tonight. I felt like they gave us that typical American Midwestern feel. None of the soccer chants. We didn't have the Cody Rhodes ringing out. We didn't have, the Michael Cole or any of the extra chants, but we had a raucous crowd, some pretty great signs. All in all, I would give this a definite watch. You see, AEW fans are trying to go ahead and they want to boycott Marvel now because Collision is being forced off air to TBS to air an old Marvel movie. Yikes. And so it begins, I guess. But all in all, hot show tonight. A lot of build towards the pay-per-view. And Kansas City, you were there 2 weeks ago, Pico, and shout out to Juan and everybody else in the chat. Glad to see you guys tuning in. Thank you for being here tonight. Make sure you hit that like button. Thank you for joining us. They started off very strong. So like I said, they're at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Missouri. Your Raw review for April 28th, 2025. Like I said, I'm here with Cody, and they started off very, very, very strong. Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman, they make their way to the ring. And right off the bat, I was a little disappointed that they didn't have a new theme for them. Maybe it'll come eventually. Maybe I'm rushing things and trying to make things happen too soon. But the theme for Rollins and having people sing. I understand he wants the praise and adulation. He wants to hear that people sing his song to a certain extent. But again, it doesn't really go with this current heel version of Rollins. And this is where WWE might get into a little bit of trouble. They're not always, sticking to their guns when it turns to these turns. When it comes to what they're doing with people as far as going heel and face, they're not always making like clean breaks or definitive splits. Now, Seth is certainly being a heel here. We have a heel Seth Rollins, but there was never that moment where he turned, where he went against the audience. Having him attack Sami Zayn does because Sami's got a lot of sympathy. He's big in the hearts and minds of the universe.
Wait, before we get going, can we congratulate Liv Morgan real quick?
Yeah, she's going to be filming a big movie in Hollywood.
I asked her what she's going to be filming. She told me this. She said, I can't say yet, but your jaw is going to drop.
Ooh, I'm excited to hear. So we got a direct quote from Liv Morgan from Cody, who talks to her on Instagram, which is incredible, just so casually talking to the Judgment Day over there, you crazy bastard. And those aren't your other accounts. You're actually talking to the Judgment Day, which is nuts. So awesome to hear that she's got this great announcement coming out. She's going to be, she's going to be going ahead and, off the TV for a little bit, which is a little concerning.
SRS put it out too, so she must have reached out to him.
Yeah, so Fightful did put out, they said she'll be taking time off from Raw to film a big Hollywood movie. And we don't know, but now they're saying Dirty Dom is going to have to pull in double duty. So
because he asked for time off too.
Yes, which was funny in storyline. And then we see it's going to be more than likely him and AJ Styles, which I'm all for. If they're gonna put him with that kind of workhorse, that's a match I want to see. It's almost unfortunate in a way that
he's announcing it next Monday.
I cannot wait to see what movie she's going to be a part of. People said their jaws are going to drop. She said this as well. So I'm excited. The buzz is big. She deserves it. After the year she had in 2024, she was the top female talent voted by fans. And, that's certainly one of the big stories to walk away from tonight. But I am concerned because they do have the women's tag titles. And much like the New Day on commentary tonight, who were entertaining, they brought up the fact that the Judgment Day went forever, something like 70 days without ever defending the title. And then it was another, out of their 100 and, almost 200-day reign, 150-something days, they defended it twice. And we were complaining about that then. We were saying over the summer, like, this is bad. The tag division is in dire straits, so I appreciate that they're giving them matches on Raw. They're having people fight for contendership. I'm excited for the future of what they got for this tag division. I almost wish that Finn and JD didn't have to be heels. Out of Judgment Day turning face, like, it is a cool idea to see Dom eventually turn, and if they have to do that with Liv and Raquel, fine. And they could certainly make it work. But I would love to see Finn Balor go with JD, make a really, really great attempt at being a face with the, great run with the tag titles, and then having him branch off and maybe go for that singles title that he never got back again since being injured by Seth Rollins at SummerSlam 2016, I think it was, when he got the debuting Universal Championship. He won, got injured off the buckle bomb, and that was it. I don't know about you, but I would
texting people, but
hey, you can text Liv Morgan later. I'm telling you,
Okay, yes.
She's amazing. She's deserving everything she's getting. She's getting her flowers, and there was a ton of women's wrestling tonight. I think that's intentional. So we have Evolution happening supposedly early July 5th in Connecticut. We're hoping to go at the Mohegan Sun Arena. I think the match, that they're setting up there is more than likely going to be Roxanne and Julia versus Io and Rhea. If they don't do that sooner,
sounds like the most possible
maybe
scenario.
Yeah, or at least some form of that. I could see them having mixed up forms of matches until then, and then that's when we get it. But it is still a solid 2 months away, so we'll see what happens, but they are definitely focused on a lot of women's wrestling, and they are focused on a lot of the women's feuds. I'm just nervous that we're going to see the women's tag titles just kind of disappear. So
Yeah.
We'll see what happens going there. But like I said, they started off very strong tonight. They went ahead and had the Dangerous Alliance, I guess we'll call them, while they're not being named. But we have the Dangerous Alliance of Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman coming out. They all come out to Rollins' theme. Like I said, I was kind of hoping at this point in time that they would have a new theme. Maybe we'll get it, but Rollins is talking about how he's the best man.
Too, because I'm sick of that.
Well, especially having fans sing when he's a heel now. It's not the best of ideas. I mean, that's why you want to take Judas away from Jericho. You don't want the fans reacting positively when a heel's coming out. I'm such a child.
They're going to continue to do that. They're going to continue to do that until they change the theme. Hell, I would even give him back his
original Burn It Down.
Yeah.
That
not even that. Like, I mean, the one he had with the Authority before he added the Burn It Down in it.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't bad either. That could be decent. But I think for them, they should get something completely brand new, have them really go all out here and nothing royalty free. I want to see something positive come of this that isn't, ridiculous. So we'll see what comes of it. I mean, I like the long-term storytelling that they're bringing out here, but they're also setting things up properly. So they're taking some of the fans' concerns, some of the fans' issues and whatnot, and they're basically just, spinning it on its head. You're going to have wrestling factions as such, and there's only so much you could do with factions, and making the apt comparison of, hey, this is just the Bloodline. You've got Bloodline members. Well, they spun that at its head. They had Sami Zayn be the one to come out while fans chanted Rollins' name. Rollins basically, when he came out, just said, I won at WrestleMania. And, I am the best for the business, and I am the future, and I see the future, and the future is my vision. And that's when, because he is a visionary, of course. We get Sami Zayn coming out, and he makes a big entrance. The crowd is happy to see him. Excuse me. And yes, Kratos, you did call that Becky attacked Bayley, so I give you credit for that. Sami Zayn basically, he comes out wearing his casual attire, and he's like, we've been friends a long time. We have done this forever. And they made note of that on the way to Mania too, with Sami and Seth talking. And he's like, I know you have a deep hatred for Punk, but you just sound so self-righteous. The indignation, is beyond the top of levels at this point. So he's like, now when you speak about Roman, but you just sound jealous that Roman was in charge, not you. And he's like, if it's not Roman, why does it have to be you? And this is when Rollins said, it's not Punk, it's not Reigns, this is the future. This is, there's quite a coincidence, isn't it, Sami? That, and you see Seth kind of getting close, and that's when Sami Zayn goes ahead and he lets out that great line, like you said. It's a coincidence that the future revolves around you being front and center. And that's when Rollins says, nope, not a coincidence. I'm the best man for the job. And Sami tried to say how hypocritical he was and that this is the Bloodline again. You got your wise man and you got your dog, your little dog on the other side. And this broke me. I died laughing seeing Paul Heyman try to pacify and calm Braun Breaker. He's patting the front of his chest. He's rubbing his back. Breaker, might I add, looks fantastic in the suit. Looking really good tonight, nice and dapper. Good look for him. I appreciated the attire change. Seth wearing this crazy robe. At least he doesn't have on the giant red boots and some real flamboyant, ridiculous attire. But basically, it all came down to an offer. And Sami is refusing so far. He's reluctant. And it comes down to Seth saying, I don't want you to be a target. I don't want to have to go through you. And if you're not with us, you're against us. I can pull strings. I can get you off of Raw. I'll get you moved to SmackDown. And then you don't have to worry about any of it. I'll need an answer by the end of the night, but let me know. So one of the things that I used to love about the Attitude Era that we got often was the early segment. The first 20 minutes always was Mr. McMahon, the corporation, somebody setting up either for 20 minutes the main event or a story that would be, a throughput. You would have constantly connecting moments to it throughout the night. And we saw that. We had different moments with Paul Heyman and Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn talking to other stars like Karrion Kross, which I wish we got more from. We'll get into that.
Me too. I don't understand why he doesn't have a bigger role yet.
I'm quite baffled by it. I don't get it either.
I'm starting to dig him because remember I used to not like when he came back as Karrion because I liked him. We talked about this last night more as Killer Cross.
Yes,
that's where I liked him the most. But then when he went to WWE, I was just like, I don't.
We'll see. The problem is that Cross, when he came into NXT, he worked great, but they didn't have an audience. They were dealing with the COVID thing, and they were trying to put over this monster that was just going to destroy all of your favorites. And he did really well there. He succeeded greatly, but it was never like this huge threat because the fans couldn't get their emotion out for their heroes be fallen in front of them. Tommaso Ciampa and others being decimated by Cross. This was when
they had no fans, right? Or
they had the plexiglass and
fake fans, right?
They had Hit Row, Hit Row, Swerve, and Francis were there clapping, but it wasn't the same.
They had their employees be the fans kind of thing.
Yeah. You saw, like I said, Hit Row in the stands and all the others. A lot of the workups from NXT. But yeah, not a great time for him. Then Vince didn't know what to do with him. And a lot of times when he called people up to the main roster from NXT, they were ruined. Bearcat Keith Lee, remember anyone? I mean, we saw it time and time again. We would get these call-ups and Aleister Black they do nothing with and so on and so forth. So it was kind of a continued vibe for him. He came back, as he said, searching for gasoline, as he was the Mad Max character with the mask. He got let go. He comes back trying to be a good soldier. And now, he got permission to use vulgar language in that promo that we made a short about that was doing very well before. Thank you guys for checking that out. But Cross, he got so much attention online. The Mania crowd in Vegas were all about him. So to see him just be able to let out a couple of lines tonight, really disappointing. And maybe you don't want him in the ring yet. Maybe they have very big plans for this man, and that might be the case. But I'm impatient, and I want more. Like you said, us wrestling fans are very fickle, and if they can give us just a little bit more out of Karrion Kross, I'd be happy. We need to be fed because that's what I love. I love that attention to detail. I love the ability to thread a narrative through multiple episodes of a show and continually have him be the force that led to, the New Day turning and things happening. The New Day had a great line tonight because they said that they dumped their friends and commentary was crapping all over them saying how they let go of Big E. And I think it was Xavier that came back with a great line being like, oh, no, we don't dump friends. We dump mediocrity, kind of the idea. It was funny, however they said it there. But basically going along the same lines of, hey, that's not our problem. Big E, he was a weight. We dumped dead weight. That's all there is to it. So keeping up with their heel heat, I liked. But very heel heavy tonight. They wanted to make the fans feel it. They wanted to make us care. We got the Logan, the Becky, the Seths. There was a lot of the heelish things going on. We saw the faces often get attacked. That was the theme of the night. So they started off super high here, though. Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez. These two have only met once before. And they were saying how Ripley won their previous meeting. I was like, I must have forgotten about that happening entirely. But Roxanne was really focused on taking out Rhea's left knee. So she was slamming against the ring post and, she's trying to go ahead and keep attacking, quick kicks, anything she can do to isolate that knee that Ripley is still kind of recovering with from WrestleMania. And eventually Rhea catches Roxanne, who's going for a crossbody off the top rope, and she catches it and then she counters it into a great suplex. That was a great moment. Eventually, Rhea got Razor's Edge, and she hit her with a big running knee, so that was good. I thought that might be it, but that was just a 2 count. And they tried to sell it there too. They're like, oh, Ripley couldn't plant her bad leg, so she didn't have full force on the knee strike. Like they're trying to really go ahead and put it over. But Cole was right, because when they showed the replay, she didn't get all of it because of her knee injury. So a great bit of storytelling and selling there. And that's when Julia kind of just saunters out, no music, no nothing, no fanfare. She's just there. And her distraction lets Ripley get caught inside a cradle for a near count, near fall there. And eventually we see Roxanne hit her with a big knee strike of her own. She gets another near fall. And Rhea eventually, she uses her strength and she starts to get attacked. She intercepts a kick and she's jawing at Julia as she's just looking at her, ready to rip her apart. She finally gets her hand on her. And that's when Roxanne tries to roll up Rhea, but she rolled out of it and she sets up for a finisher. She's going to give her the riptide, but Julia knows better. She runs in, saves Roxanne, and they start to both beat her down. We get a DQ finish. I was talking to Sith before Raw was airing earlier today, and even he and I had both said we saw this DQ or non-finish coming from a mile away. They really...
I saw it too, definitely. I was talking to a few people, and I'm like, there's no way... they don't want Roxanne, I don't think, to lose immediately getting called up, and they're definitely not going to have Roxanne just pin Rhea Ripley. That's just out of the question. So
yeah,
I had the feeling the DQ was coming as well.
They were in a precarious position. They couldn't have either women really lose here unless they gave you some knockdown, drag out, amazing 5-star quality match here on Raw performance where Roxanne just barely misses her and gets put over in defeat. But that wasn't the case. I get it. It's logical. It makes sense. Cheap finishes, they happen. They're needed sometimes. This was a case where it was needed. Rhea just lost at Mania. We saw her last week, still not able to capture any momentum to get back into the women's title picture. Same thing here. She couldn't lose again, but Roxanne is essentially making her main roster debut at this time, even though it's been months on end. I wish, and like I said before, I wish they were a bit more finite about these call-ups. We thought we were getting Trick Williams, but now he's feuding with Joe Hendry. I'm excited about that, don't get me wrong. You know how much we support Joe Hendry here.
Say his name and
He appears.
Oh, yeah, I believe.
I believe, yes, we all believe. It was funny seeing Joe Hendry get caught off guard by at least a dozen people dressed up like him at the signing at WWE World, and he just can't stop laughing. It was a great clip, but they seem to have a lot of fun there with him in his WrestleMania moments. Yeah, Bianca's braid should be banned. We've said this forever. Spaz will die on this hill, and I don't blame him. It's a weapon. It shouldn't be used in matches that have disqualification in it. Absolutely. You're whipping someone. Same thing if I took off my belt. Well, it's in a part of my attire, no? Like you could say her hair, but that would be considered a weapon. So, eventually Io runs out and she is coming to help Rhea, but the trap set by Julia was a bit too much as she trips Sky as she tumbles into the ring, and they basically just beat her down. And finally, Rhea gets back up and gets everybody out of the ring, chases them out of town. But they're setting up clearly a tag match here. Eventually, we might see Io take on Julia, and then they're going to space things out. Maybe we get it at Backlash. But to me, this really feels like a must-see match and something that would be brewing for Evolution. I think they really tonight tried to hit home the women's wrestling angles because they're going to be booking heavy heading into Evolution as well. So, one of the funny things that I did notice, Backlash, sponsored by Morgan & Morgan, as you see behind me here. I watch a ton of YouTube. More than anything else, I live on YouTube. More than Netflix or any app, cable, whatever it is. I'm always on YouTube. Got YouTube Red, Premium Plus, whatever you want to call it. No ads for me. live on it constantly. And lo and behold, I have seen many people in the last year get sponsored by Morgan and Morgan. It was like a sudden infiltration by this company. Every single person that I watched on YouTube was being sponsored by them, and now they're sponsoring WWE, and I've seen them with, Super Bowl commercials and whatnot. So it's funny to see this law firm just take over everywhere. But
oh yeah, I see them on every fucking sponsorship. Like
they are everywhere now. Literally, they are out of Jacksonville. I believe it. See, but yeah, they are everywhere at this point in time, being heavily advertised. So I liked this match a lot. I wish we got a finish, but it only makes me. I'm not upset we didn't get a finish. I'm upset that we're not at the tag match or the ending conclusion yet. Like I said, I want more, and that's a great thing. And that's a lot of what we got out of this Raw, wanting more. None of this,
which is always a good thing, because that's going to want you to tune into the next week's show. Then, you got some people that will complain, oh, they left us on all these cliffhangers, blah, blah, blah. That's not good. And I'm like, yes, it is, because you're going to want to find out what's going to happen next week.
Absolutely. They were even setting up matches for next week's Raw as well, and we've got Penta taking on JD McDonough, and then we have Rusev. Yeah, Rusev had a really cool promo tonight. He's basically going to be his AEW character. He's going to go ahead and be the Redeemer, but just in WWE. Rusev. I'm okay with it. I'm excited. I liked that character a lot. The character was great in AEW, and he was an amazing TNT champion. I was never a huge Rusev guy. Like, I appreciated his work ethic, and he certainly busted his ass. But
I liked him when he originally came on, like, years ago, when he was the Bulgarian Brute, right? Or
yeah, 2015 when he was the U.S. champion coming out on a tank, and I liked that era of him. And then after that, it got really messy, and then we got into a bunch of nonsense with Lana, and then he was with Summer Rae, and Bobby Lashley got involved, and all of that horrible crap.
He turned into like a comedy character for WWE.
Basically, and AEW took him serious. They were like, hey, oh wait, no, they didn't either, because they debuted him in a pink Mickey Mouse t-shirt as a video game streaming idiot there to help Kip Sabian.
Things like that just show you how hypocritical AEW fans are. I hate to get off topic here, but they were all crying and bitching about how WWE is treating him as a comedy character. He comes into AEW as a comedy character, and it's the best thing ever. Absolute cinema.
Absolute cinema. Love that. And I want to mention, too, as Pico just said in the chat, he brought up, hey, Cena buried him. And you and I debuted a new show this week. We went ahead on Sunday and brought out Guilt or Guilt Free. So we talked about The Rock. Is The Rock guilty for ruining WrestleMania 41? Did he ruin the event? Was the air of The Rock not showing up enough to poison WrestleMania 41? We go over everything. Yeah, right. We go over every bit of it that happened from 2024 onwards. We bring up all of the evidence, all the facts, and make our statement known. So people can go ahead and check that out on the YouTube channel.
That person we talked about will be guilty. Sometimes they'll be guilt-free. And
never know.
Thank you for bringing up Cena, because you'll find out soon about him with burying.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be our next venture into the series. We're going to go over John Cena. Is he guilty or guilt-free? Has he buried talent, or has he just buried mediocrity, as he said?
Yes.
So that'll be a great one to look forward to. So make sure you're subscribed, turn on notifications, hit the like button, because we're going to have that out soon enough. That'll be a weekly series as well. Yeah, Travis Scott did poison it, but I think he poisoned it because of The Rock, and that's why you have to check out that video. Next, we get into Finn Balor. He arrives a bit late, and he shows up to the clubhouse for Judgment Day, and JD's hanging out with everybody, and Balor kind of pulls him aside and is like, what the hell? You were supposed to go ahead and let me know that you were, making your comeback. What the hell happened? And from there, it kind of fell apart a little bit. I get what they're going for, and it's okay. They're doing a very slow burn for this. Allegedly, news is reporting that we're not going to have Balor turn, and I don't know how this got out, but not going to have him turn until the Night of Champions pay-per-view. That's coming up in Saudi late June.
Wait, you know, okay, I was about to ask that. I think that makes sense anyway because, as we just discussed, Liv Morgan's going to be off TV, so can't like
I
really.
believe it's Night of Champions, but it's one of the shows coming up, and they're going to go ahead and have them there. And yeah,
Maybe that's when
just
she returns. I would assume maybe. I don't
could
know how
be.
long she's gonna
Maybe
be
that's
out.
why they're waiting, so they kind of have like a 2 month build for the Finn Balor
Because
turn.
that's what it usually takes to film movies. Knowing when like Cena did it, The Miz, like they're usually out for a couple months, and
Yeah, and that's
so
kind of
and it's
been
going to be a major role, so she'll probably be out for a few months. And the end of June makes sense, and then because you can't have the turn happen right when she's not there.
exactly. So it says new details have emerged when WWE fans can expect Finn Balor to turn on Dominic Mysterio, coming from ringside intel, according to WrestleVotes as well. They're building Balor to attack Mysterio at the 2025 edition of Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. They will build a little bit more from where we are right now, and then Night of Champions in Saudi will be where Finn will turn on Dom, and that will set up a program over the summer, which will lead to SummerSlam, and then we'll have
what's the Dom?
yeah, right. We'll have Finn versus Dom at SummerSlam. So it says Finn's going to have enough one day, smack, and that's off to the races with a singles program. So kind of interesting. It's a bit surprising they're waiting that long because it feels like they're already kind of there. It feels like Finn is at his breaking point already, so they're really going to have to go ahead and find a way to delay properly to sell this for us. But I don't know. I'm not against it. I only wish that we got a face Finn Balor, not him going and branching off as a heel. And I mean, maybe the turn could be that. Maybe we keep Dom as a heel and we do get face Finn, but I doubt it. So
I think Liv and Dom turned face.
it seems like that's what's going to happen, and rightfully so. Dom got a great reaction. I love seeing him at Mania expecting to be booed. I mean, he even went ahead and he talked about this on different podcasts and media events. He said how he expected the crowd to just rein in those boos like he usually gets, just like he got when he walked out with the mask stuck on his head. And lo and behold, he said he got cheered and he couldn't believe it. And he got word halfway up the ramp. They told him, one of the cameramen got the feed in his ear, and they said, hold up, wait for the replay, and when that's done, run back to the ring and celebrate. And that's what he did, and he got that great reaction. You had the fans singing to him. We had Dirty, Dirty Dom, and it was a great moment for him. I really assume he'll be... Yeah, I think we're going to get face Dom
because he
soon
still
enough.
Has that, prickish attitude of like how he was with like AJ, you know. You get to break a hip like my deadbeat did.
Yes,
like, you know.
and they get themselves over as prickish bastards, but it worked. It was funny.
They're
That's
like
for damn
full
sure.
bad guys now, I think.
And thank you, JJ Hunter. He said, get these likes up. This is real wrestling analysis. I appreciate that, my friend. And we'll be live again tomorrow for Into Somewhere Weekly. We'll go ahead and be broadcasting live after NXT. We'll give you the review for that, as well as talking about all the latest wrestling news and rumors. It's going to be a great time. So make sure you're there tomorrow night for Into Somewhere Weekly with the NXT review. But yeah, I am excited. I want to see Dom as a face. Why is Jamie Noble security? Everyone could beat him up. Hey, they got to have somebody out there to take the punches. And speaking of punches, we're talking about the guy with the titanium fist and the wallet big enough to sue whoever he wants. So I've never been a fan of Logan Paul, the man, the person, as it's, been known for quite a long time. He rubs me the wrong way. He's a bit of a prick. And that's a common judgment of him. I feel correctly so. Granted, I can separate, the art from the artist. He is damn good in the ring. His match with AJ at Mania was spectacular. He has not done anything but been spectacular and over-deliver. He's made moments, he's made memories, and whoever he's worked with, he's made them look very good. So, hearing about him and the CoffeeZilla lawsuit, it's interesting because it just makes him look very petty and terrible. unfortunately. So what happened was, and I don't know if you're familiar with this at all, but just a few days ago, so there's a lawsuit out. Logan Paul is suing CoffeeZilla, the YouTuber. CoffeeZilla covers crypto scams and things of that nature, anything to deal with online finances.
I'm not familiar with this one. I'm interested in this, actually.
Yeah, so Logan Paul went ahead and he ends up putting out this crypto token called Crypto Zoo, and you're supposed to be able to invest. It's kind of like Pokemon. When you buy tokens, you kind of get eggs. Eventually, your animals will evolve, and it was supposed to be this whole game that you played, and while you played the game, you would earn real currency, real money. It turned out to be a huge scam, and everybody that put money into it, they ended up getting rugged. So when the project was at its peak, they took the money out. Everybody lost a ton of money, and CoffeeZilla was one of the main ones fighting for the people that lost their money, the investors. There was no word, no communication from Logan and anyone of his team for a long time, and when there was, it was just a lot of finger pointing. Everybody was blaming somebody else. So Coffee got to the bottom of a lot of it and went ahead and said, hey, you scammed your fans. And Logan had originally fought against CoffeeZilla, tried to get him on his podcast. And as they bickered back and forth, it eventually came out where Logan was like, no, I appreciate Coffee, and I'm going to do a refund for the fans, and I'm going to give them their money back up to a certain amount. But something was better than nothing. He was going to return $1.3 million to fans. So people were like, hey, that's a good thing. Accountability has been taken. Something's going off in the future. But then silence again. And more time went by, and the investors heard nothing. Logan had his 3-step plan in how he was going to continue working on the project, refund the investors, and go ahead and move forward with other projects. Nothing happened. The market failed. And now he was suing CoffeeZilla for basically slander and libel, saying that, oh, he called me a scammer and he called me these things, and this is what's happening of it. Well, his text messages came out and during discovery, because when you have a lawsuit,
was this recent?
Yes. So
you want to pull that up?
I'm trying to pull up the text, so I have the exact here. But he went ahead against CoffeeZilla, and he basically just said, hey, I'm going to sue him into oblivion. Him and his friend were talking. He's like, I'm just going to use my money to shut him up. And I want to go ahead and just silence him publicly, because if I humiliate this man publicly, I can go ahead and, get rid of it. So you see now the text that Paul sent. He says, I'm lawyering up. I'm suing this motherfucker into the ground. His friend says, then everything will come out. Court docs public. And Logan says, so everyone will see what happened, for better or worse. I don't know if Logan knew these text messages would come out, because he says, I'm doing this just to make CoffeeZilla's life difficult. He will pay one way or another. I'll make sure of it. I am a petty billionaire, and I will get my way. I want people who wronged me to suffer while I continue getting wins on their grave. Like, he's like, public humiliation is more effective.
I hate him so much. I hate how good he is at fucking wrestling, though.
I wish he wasn't.
Slimy dick. Fucking cunt, that guy.
He never apologized. He didn't really take accountability. People thought he did with this 3-step program, and he fucked the fans and essentially got away with it again. And
look at him. Like, now
someone stood up to him. Yes, someone stood up to him, and now he's suing him into oblivion because Logan is a petty billionaire. As he said, he has the money.
Back at everyone that he thinks wrongs him.
Exactly. CoffeeZilla can't do that, so he has to publicly, go fund the funds for him to go ahead and be able to have his representation and a lawyer. And it's like, you couldn't just admit, hey, the Crypto Zoo project failed. Let's give the fans back the 1.3 million you were going to give out of the billions that you earn when you live in Puerto Rico to not pay taxes and use it as a fucking shelter.
He's a billionaire? I never knew that.
Yeah. And
so $1 million is realistically pocket change to him.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So,
It makes you laugh. I brought it up before, but for Logan and other billionaires, for them to not waste their time, if they see a large sum of money on the ground, in order for them to not just step over it and waste their time, it'd have to be like $87,000. That's equivalent to a quarter for us, an actual 25-cent quarter. Crazy. But Logan comes out and he's damn good on the mic because he is so confident. He's good at this. I hate to say it. I have to give him credit. He's believable. He's exciting. He's entertaining. And I want to see him get his ass kicked. So this worked. This was a different side of Jey Uso as well. Logan, he's going to challenge Jey. Said the only thing he hasn't done is get himself a U.S. championship,
Logan versus Jey for the world title.
I'm not hating on it. A lot of people are against it, and he may not be an exact billionaire, but he did call himself a petty billionaire. You figure with his companies and stuff, yeah.
With how Jey Uso wrestles, I think we're going to get some cool spots.
Absolutely. I think they have plans for this, and I think that they're going to give us something damn good. Yeah, absolutely.
Stipulations. I need to throw this out here right now. John Cena and Randy Orton need a stipulation, or that match could be a clusterfuck.
I see where you're coming from, but I don't think so. I don't think it needs anything. They're going off of their history. So when they did do a little breakdown of their match in 2007, no doubt, but I think they can do enough. I don't want it to be like the Mania match that John had, and it could be just a couple big moves and that's it. But hopefully that's not the case. I think Randy will want to give us a bit more, especially while he's in his having fun face.
That, match where Randy Orton got DQ'd from slapping the ref?
Yes.
I think John Cena is going to do that this time.
You're not alone. Some people have said that online as well, and maybe then they'll restart it as no DQ. Anything is possible. The one thing I'm confused on is they're like the 25-year history of the rivalry of John Cena and Randy Orton. They said it right at the bottom, 25-year history, and I'm like, huh?
25-year history.
It hasn't even been 20 years, has it? So
no, because in the last 10 years they've been friends.
Right? Yeah, kind of. But you could say even their storied history when they did face each other and for how long it's been. Unless they're going all the way back to OVW, like 2002, when John Cena was a heel and Randy Orton was a face, and that did happen. We had the prototype taking on Orton down there. Unless they're going back to OVW, and that is why they say 25 years of this feud. I'm kind of confused because even on commentary, they then said, while the graphic says 25 years, Cole said, it's almost 20 years of this storied, rivalry. But I like Jey here. He was different, and like you said, he had a fire inside, lit inside of him. Yeah. Speaking of fire inside. He had it lit inside of him and it burns forever. And he wants to go ahead. And I did like the fact that he gave his yeet shades to the kid that had the yeet for cancer sign. That was sweet. I did catch that. That was nice. That always makes me smile. I kept seeing that sign and the Hey Jake sign throughout the night. So if that was for me, I appreciate it greatly. If it wasn't, I'll take credit for it anyways. But I hope they have a good match as well. Ghetto God. The cash-in option is a stoled cash-in. It could be. Hey, you never know. But I liked Jey here. I've not been crazy
because I was there. Because
you were holding it up for me. That makes perfect sense. One of your many different accounts.
Itself, too.
You were the sign. I'll give you the sign. I'll give you my sign. You know about Libras. So Jey was fired up here, and he made a damn good proclamation against what Logan had laid out. He's like, the title isn't given, it's earned, and it's mine. And if you want it, you got to come take it. And Paul starts laying to him. He's like, yeet, you sound stupid for that, oos. As he says, oos, He's like, I've done more in 4 years than you could in 15, and I'm going to take your world heavyweight title from you. And he's like, you're going to do what you do best. Crash out, screw up, and lose the title in less time than you held the IC championship. So, Jey, enjoy it while you... And boom! Super kick. Sweet chin music right to the face. I like the yeet chin music. That's right, baby. And Jey walks out. He hugs the Yeet for Cancer kid, and then he heads backstage. So that was great. And I like the idea of having Logan Paul be his first challenger. They're building up him as a credible threat to Jay. Logan even attacks him later on in the back. He will be champion one day. I do agree. I agree with the chat and Ghetto God, but not yet.
They're going to do that. They're definitely going to, because one thing Logan is good at, he's a businessman. He's a good promoter. And WWE, his Impulsive podcast is huge, right? I believe.
Yes. And they're also playing up on the fact that Jay had this very short title run recently with the IC title. The only reason he won it was to further the storyline for his involvement in Survivor Series War Games, so that he would join Roman to take on Solo Sikoa's bloodline. So really, he had it for an afternoon just to further that. Not complaining. But it's not a foregone conclusion. Got to make the shirt. They really put over the fact that, hey, Jay, he's vulnerable. He can drop it at any point. And I think that makes him make Logan more dangerous and more credible. And they played up on that fact.
Yeah, happening, but not yet. But I guess because WWE is going to want him to promote it on his podcast and everything.
What if
he has like,
and the way things happen? What if? I mean, I certainly don't want to see him beat Jay, but what if it could happen? I mean, shit, I'm supposed to be sucking up to Logan so I can do good on YouTube. Logan's going to win. He's amazing. He's the best ever. Let's keep going with the Logan praise here so we can get the YouTube gods on our side.
His drink is good.
Gotta love Prime.
Hydration.
Delicious.
Better than Red Bull, Monster. It's a healthier option for you.
Yes, you named it. Fuck Gatorade. That's right.
Yeah, fuck it.
Fuck it. So now we got...
Oh, is it supposed to be Gatorade? I thought it's supposed to be Gatorade, right? That's the drink. Whatever
like piss,
drink it's compared to.
It's good. Yeah. So we got the War Raiders coming out, and we're going to get that sponsorship. Don't you worry. Just keep pushing it in. We'll get it. We go ahead. We got the War Raiders coming out. Eric and Ivar, after being beat at WrestleMania by the New Day, they lost their tag titles, taking on the former champs, Finn Balor and JD McDonough. I can never say that right. I always want to say McDonald. Yes. What am I thinking of? I'm fucking it up. So this was a decent match. They did well here. Got some good hot tags. They pretty much took time working over Finn Balor and kind of beating him down, letting McDonough get the hot tag, and he goes ahead and he hits Ivar with a beautiful top rope moonsault. Had him pinned, thought he was going to win, but Eric broke it up. I thought for a good point in time here that Finn and JD would walk away the victors, especially with the storyline that we had earlier. Liv Morgan had said to Finn Balor, hey, you're not a champion, so I thought you would be excited that I got you a chance at the tag titles. And at first, he seems a little bit miffed at that idea, like you're talking down to him. But then he was like, yeah, I like that. I want the tag titles again with JD. That's a good idea. Even Carlito says that he wants to be a champion. So Carlito tried to be a factor in this. He distracted the referee, but out of nowhere, Penta comes out and just pushes JD off the top rope, takes a bad spill to the outside. War Raiders get their War Machine finish. They pin JD, and that was it. Good, solid, 11-minute match. Surprising outcome. Good bounce back for the War Raiders. Like I said, it almost seems like the obvious outcome, but I wasn't entirely sure that they would go ahead and have them win here. Yeah, JD McDonough had a farm. E-I-E-I-O, Pico. I didn't think of it as a foregone conclusion that they would lose here. I thought that they might have Judgment Day go ahead and try and go for the tag titles again, then lose, and that would cause Finn more mental anguish. But really, they didn't even get the number one contendership. So Carlito screwed JD on purpose, in your opinion? Hey, I mean, it could be. You don't know, because it looks like JD could have had it won, and then the War Raiders end up capitalizing on Penta's interference. And that would set up Penta versus JD for next week on Raw. So happy that they continue to, as you said, give you a reason to tune in next week while still giving you a reason not to change the channel or exit the app in this case. Sami Zayn is sitting in the locker room with Otis. That kind of felt random. But he's back there and hanging out. Otis leaves and Paul Heyman sits down. And they said, look at that. We're both OG bloodline, huh, Sammy? And Paul continues, he's like, I always respected you, and I respected when you had to leave the bloodline. And maybe someday you'll respect why I had to do what I had to do. And Sami says, you destroyed what was left of the bloodline. And Heyman said, Seth views himself as the future, not just of this company, but the whole industry. And Braun Breaker, he sees himself as the dog at the gate. Breaker, he's demanding a match against you tonight. And they can't say no because he's the key to our plans. We have to do it. So, again, though, you don't have to do this. You can go to SmackDown. And guess what? He's going to give you a pass. But he thinks so much of you that we spoke to Nick Aldis. We spoke to Adam Pearce. And if you go to SmackDown this Friday, you will face the winner of John Cena and Randy Orton for the WWE Championship right away.
Trying to convince him,
I talk about greasing the wheels, and this eventually is what included Karrion Kross with him telling Sami, you better make the right decision. And I still feel like Sami fucked up. He could have been a face and taken the goddamn offer. He still could have been a good guy and kept his morals. Why does he have to go after Seth? We'll see as he continues to explain himself, but he paid for it later on, that's for sure. So we see Heyman basically say, you can live in the future or you can die with the past. I love that. I hope that's a tagline for them. Fuck earning title shots. You can have it. Just don't fuck with our operation. Love this because you see Braun Breaker standing in the doorway. He's the muscle protecting Paul, waiting to strike, being obedient like a good little dog. Love this. I love the continuing narrative throughout the night. It's not just, hey, Sami, give us your answer, and then we wait till the main event for that to happen. They continually advance the story throughout, and it's very well done, and all of it is easy to suspend disbelief. You're just believing this. It makes sense. It feels right. It just adds up. One of the things that we really strived to have back in wrestling was long-term storytelling, because Vince would set up these random matches and feuds, and you would have one guy face another guy, then weeks later it was like they never faced at all. Nothing mattered. There were hardly any stakes because there was just no continuity. Nothing ever felt like it was continuing. We were just doing something else. Now they touch back on things that happened decades ago, and Braun Breaker is not the Mark Jindrak of the Evolution faction. He is going to make a difference. He will be a champion eventually with Seth's help. Maybe at SummerSlam. Some people say that maybe he's going to be the one to dethrone Jay, since Jay stole his IC title. More cinema, as you said. Then we get Becky Lynch.
Absolute cinema.
Perfect. Absolute cinema. What are your thoughts on everything backstage with Sami Zayn and Paul Heyman? Did you like this as much as I did?
I liked it too because, Paul's a good storyteller. He's a good con artist. He'll make everything believable for you. So
absolutely,
they were trying to convince him, and Sami looked like he was thinking about it because that opportunity doesn't come very often where you're going to either face John Cena or Randy Orton.
Yeah.
The best ever for a world title.
And Sami plays emotionally convicted and conflicted very, very well. He follows his convictions, but he's always conflicted. Should he do the right thing? Should he think of himself? He even makes note of it later on when he speaks backstage again, saying, this is something I've always wanted. I've never captured a world title. I have not, conquered that mountain. So, a lot for him to consider and go over. That's for sure.
Yep.
Then we get Becky Lynch coming out. And as I said earlier, and as I'm trying to make a point of now, long-term storytelling. We get Becky in her rare form. We got the man. She says she's back in town and back in business. The man has come around. And she said Bayley was taken out of WrestleMania because it was me. I did it. That was quick. That was an easy reveal. I'm
easier
surprised.
Than, it took Naomi to.
Right. I'm sorry, too. We didn't make much. We didn't
Liv
make
and
much
Raquel
mention
again.
of it. Yeah, I know they still blame Liv and Raquel, like always, going back down that well. But we didn't make mention of it either on SmackDown's review this past Friday. But oh my God, Jade and Naomi. When Naomi went and attacked Jade, she was just flailing. She never actually hit her. She just flailed the whole time. So it was a bit
Fucking awful.
It looked really bad. Yeah, that was.
Looked like she was a child throwing a tantrum or something.
That was really bad. So when you saw Lyra laying in those punches tonight, that was great. That actually worked, and it looked effective. That's for damn sure. But God, was that embarrassing. That was just not not a great moment. I mean, that attack left a lot to be desired. That's for certain. I'm trying to find it. I know I have it somewhere on here. I'll pull it up for the fans, but let's see here. Yeah, we'll copy this out. But while I get this up, yeah, I mean, Becky, this worked very well. She was justified in what she said. Bayley was a heel in 2019, attacking her constantly. And let's just play this really quick. You could see her attacking her here. Just missing by flailing her arms. Completely missing. Just so embarrassing. Oh my God. But Becky here did a great job, not embarrassing by any means. She said, why did I do this to Lyra? She wouldn't be in this business if it wasn't for me. I had high hopes for her. But then she cozies up to the bitch that I've been fighting for 6 years. I told her to ditch that bitch, but she's already compromised. She's a loser. You know, the enemy of my enemy is my enemy, but the friend of my enemy is also my enemy. Lyra comes out, and I thought she had a great opportunity here. She had the chance to go ahead and really capitalize on the beatdown. She could have seized the moment, like Paul said. You know, Becky was killing it, and like most, I'm not usually a fan, but she was doing great. She had that mother anger. I agree, Paul. And Lyra instead seemed nervous and a bit just unsure. She tried to convey proper emotion and conviction, saying that, you know, the last time we faced each other, I beat you for the NXT Women's Championship. And Becky says, well, now I only fight when it matters. I'm not going to fight you tonight in Kansas City. And that's when Lyra says, well, we can have the match at Backlash. And I'm assuming you're only going to do it if I put the title on the line. And you know what? I will. And that's when Becky agreed to the match. And she says, you know, I don't want to be the next Becky Lynch. I'm a better person than you are, and I'm already a better wrestler. And that's when Becky just started losing it, throwing a real tantrum, being a Karen, a little bit of that Karen core. And she starts lying and, you know, just going off on the mic saying how you don't. And then she jumps right in and tries to attack her. And that's when Lyra takes her down, hits her with some good punches, and Becky gets away. Lyra makes her way to the top of the ramp, and that's when we saw her get attacked from behind while she posed with the title. So Becky comes back out, hits Lyra from behind, and they set up the match. I mean, Lyra Valkyria came off good here. I mean, she's challenging her and not backing down. But I felt like she really could have garnered sympathy from the fans of her being attacked by her mentor, idol, and tag team partner. She really could have hit that home. It wasn't bad by any means. I guess I was just hoping for a little bit more personally. Still liked it, and I am looking forward to the match. I'm thinking Becky's going to get that title and really try and make it something. They need a...
They need to do that. I think it was too soon to put it on Lyra. I don't think she should have been the first champion.
I don't think Lyra was a bad choice. I just don't think they did enough to really put over her or the title. Both titles on both sides. Now Zelina Vega quickly beat Chelsea Green, who had just really kind of gone into her run with the U.S. title and was really getting over. She had the Secret Service and was doing great work both on and off TV. She's been a gem on social media. So hopefully we see her with the U.S. or women's title at some point, because Chelsea really is that damn good. Like I said, Lyra, this is a way for her to grow on fans. Certainly one. Wasn't bad. I was just hoping she made herself more of that emotionally vulnerable subject so the fans could really feel compassion about her being betrayed by her mentor. She wasn't big enough to be the champion. I agree. And Chelsea feels big time now, and she made the title feel a bit bigger than it was. When they started off and it was just her, me, and Yim, it didn't feel like U.S. title really feud worthy, but she got there. And then they kind of failed her with the Zelina Vega rush. But lo and behold, on this side of things, I am excited for Backlash. And I think Becky's going to take that title and really try to make it mean something. I think that's the plan. That'll rehab the title, and we'll see what happens from there. We talked earlier about Rusev. This was a great vignette from him. He basically said he had an epiphany that he's free to crush people, not because he's being told to, because he wants to. He's going to use his hands and his jacked body for good. He's going to hunt the flawed, the arrogant, and those that waste their talents like he did. And through pain, he will perfect them all for good. He's like, don't worry, your suffering ends now. I will hunt you for your lack of suffering, excuse me. I will hunt you, forgive you, and fix you like I fixed myself. He said, you should choose your next step wisely, because it will be no hardship, and in ending, you will be no loss for a righteous man. So he is following God once again. He's being that, divine slayer, if we want to call it. And for him, the Redeemer has been redeemed. We no longer have him being stuck in catering. He'll be taking on Otis next week, but I think we're going to see some bigger things from him. He's saying he's fighting for good. He's obviously going to be a heel and go on and take out people he feels, have earned that indignation and needs to be just crucified. But it really was a great gimmick. AEW's extremely fumbled that. I agree with the chat. And, they just failed him.
On to that Tony Fumble Rumble,
Absolutely. We have just about everybody we need. We've got the Lucha Bros. We've got everybody that Punk wanted on Collision. We got Starks.
I just need them all in a match together now in like one big battle royal.
Exactly. Let a few of them get their call-ups eventually, and then we'll get a big multi-man match. Put them all in Money in the Bank. That'll really be the ultimate Tony Fumble Rumble.
You can make some reference too.
One of the things I kind of thought it was interesting that we had Stephanie last week. Stephanie Vancouver was there because it made sense. They're in Vegas. They're in the same building. They're going to be having NXT the next night, and they're still trying to sell tickets to a very tired WrestleMania crowd. So let's go ahead and get this over. Having her here tonight, I don't know why they didn't advertise it ahead of time. That was a great addition. And this was a damn good match with her and Ivy Nile. So Ivy Nile and Chad Gable, basically before the match, they have a little interaction in the back with Penta. And you have Chad Gable go ahead and make the first mention of the Lucha Bros. So that's a big deal. Chad goes ahead and says, I beat Phoenix, El Grande Americano beat Phoenix at Mania, and your brother got destroyed. And that's when Penta kicks him in the chest, does his Cero Miedo chant, and they're obviously far from done. So interesting what we're getting there. I'm excited to see more of El Grande Americano and Chad Gable. And when we came into it, basically they had this match already happening in commercial break. So when they came back, she was hitting the Devil's Kiss. She was doing the face fucking finale, just smacking Ivy Nile's face onto the mat with her ass cheeks. Love it. And then Stephanie got a huge Meteora and a near fall, but Chad Gable had put Ivy Nile's foot on the ropes. The referee didn't see him do it, stops the count. And that's when Stephanie goes to go ahead and go attack Gable. She goes and approaches him on the outside, but Ivy hits her with a sloppy German suplex. Little risky there, but she was able to get her up and over. She gets her back in the ring, gives her another German suplex, and that's when Stephanie hits her with a headbutt and gives her a big suplex and gets another near count. Now we get the "This is awesome" chant. And Nile eventually, she kind of gets in the corner and she avoids Stephanie, but that's when Stephanie is able to give her the dragon screw leg whip, and she pulls her away, gets her in position, hits the SVB, and the NXT Women's Champ is successful yet again. Damn great match, making Stephanie look very impressive on the main roster, really putting her over. Part of it is that I feel like they expected Julia to be in this position. So they really had envisioned her to be the one that was the big deal and over. But fans just gravitated towards Stephanie Vacour. And it happened organically. It happened naturally. The fans supported her more. And then she ended up becoming a double champion. Julia turned heel, and now we're getting her kind of on the main roster. And it feels like Julia had to pivot with plans. It seemed like they were going to have her be the it girl for a while, but then she had that slight bruising, beat up injury status and needed to go ahead and have herself take a little bit of time off. But she wasn't gone long because she lost the titles at Roadblock and then made it back in time for Stand and Deliver. So still weird that she had to drop the belt at all. All those reports were a bit baffling, but hey, that's what we got. I think they're having Stephanie on this show, not just because she's the best and it's best for business, but because they're building towards Evolution. You're going to see a lot of women-heavy angles, especially on Raw for the next few weeks, I think, to build up to the announcement of Evolution. Then they got to make the matches. And that's also happening while we have Money in the Bank, Worlds Collide, and, we've got Night of Champions in Saudi. There's a lot of stuff they have to build to quickly. And we had this extra long build to Mania. Everything else looks like it's going to be rapid fire. So, and now we have, 26 or 25 appearances left for Cena? 26 now? 26. So, this is where we had Nick Aldis.
25, I think.
Yeah. Oh, actually, before that, so what did you think of this match with Stephanie and Ivy Nile?
I thought it was really good. They're both great wrestlers in their own right. Some people were trying to tell me this was going to main event tonight. I'm like, no way.
No.
And I'm like, that's not happening.
Didn't see that being the case.
Looked a little sloppy. That one spot, what was it? Where
the German suplex to the outside, and for the pin, the German suplex for the pin as well in the ring, where she brought her backwards. She brought her kind of on an angle and then had to correct.
A little sloppy, but she is great at what she does.
Yeah, certainly. And you also think about it, Ivy Nile doesn't get these type of showcase matches, at least not recently, not for a while. So we've seen less and less of her. So her having more in-ring time is only a good thing.
Yes. I think it was a good match for TV, but I would like to see another match between the two. But I know Ivy won't do that every week, but those few German suplex that's the only thing I'll criticize. It looked a little sloppy, but I'm not nitpicking.
No, certainly not. And yes, we had reported that is the tentative plan. They're going to have every brand featured, including AAA, TNA, and NXT at Evolution 2. So they have a
really?
ton.
Wait, so
they're having everybody, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, everyone they're working with. Maybe they'll even invite AEW to sit in the crowd. You never know. This is when we had Dom.
That's a nice invite,
Hey, I'll take that olive branch. It would be cool in a bubble, to have them work together. Imagine if they actually could have those two sides find a working agreement. You actually had that. Oh my God, Moxley's back. While you had the triple threat build, the Mania, he could have been a great addition. All these type of fantasy angles that you could book with, but alas, that's not the case. These are not the ones that get along. And we ended up getting Nick Aldis backstage with AJ Styles. And he's like, I need to bounce back from my loss at Mania. And that's when Liv enters. And she's telling Aldis that I got time off because I'm going to be filming a movie. And Aldis says, I'm aware. You've been approved. All the paperwork looks good. So now we know she'll be gone for some time. We don't know how long. But
because he also just stated he's live. He said, I just saw a clip from someone, SRS is saying on his live stream right now, this is really going to drop a lot of jaws. This is huge.
Massive. Well, she told you yourself that it's going to be jaw-dropping and massive.
I think it's going to be, I have a prediction because they're filming, a Spider-Man movie.
So maybe she's, playing, could be. That would be a huge get for her, certainly. There's quite a few roles that she would fit in there, certainly. Then, this apparently didn't go over as well as I thought it did online with some people, but we had Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. They're kind of talking back and forth. They go over and replay the Gunther attack on commentary last week. And just as we predicted, it leads to a match at Backlash. We called that. I think everybody did, but we called that. Pat is going to be going ahead and facing Gunther. I'm excited. Pat McAfee is damn good in ring. Like he said, he had a wrestling ring bought and set up when he was still in the NFL. The guy has always loved taking bumps, and you know, he respects the business, and he's certainly going to put in 110% effort. I don't think he'll win. I do think it's going to be, you know, Gunther just continuing to whoop ass, and eventually they'll need someone to vanquish Gunther, and I think that'll come down to Goldberg's retirement. Hopefully that's not the case and we don't see Gunther get squashed at SummerSlam, but you never know.
Oh, man. Goldberg. Why?
I don't know.
What's that thing JD says? Fuck Bill Goldberg. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Fuck Bill Goldberg. And speaking of SummerSlam, I mean, this is yikes. I know it's a little hard to read here, but I'll go ahead and pull it up. There's a tweet from earlier today. So basically it says that confirmed with on location in WWE, there's an Elite Plus package, and the total pricing for this ends up being, what does it say? $32,500.
I want to tweet that before Andrew Badalla, right?
So this
Did he
is
tweet that, or?
This is the non-center front row is just an elite package and is priced currently at $32,500. It includes premium front row seating, an in-ring photo op with a select superstar, private selection, and an all-inclusive pre-show hospitality with superstar appearances by Kevin Nash and more. Whoop-a-doo, too sweet. Post-show pass to the press conference access and a desk photo op, and tickets to both nights of SummerSlam.
God.
So almost $18,000 a night. The other one for $40,000, the bigger ticket includes.
Oh, that's the one. That's the one I saw Andrew Badalla's tweet on, the $40,000 ticket, right?
Yes, they are already sold out of this. By the way, they are very limited quantity, so people already bought them. But they include premium front row seating, and then you get everything else that I mentioned before, plus an elite welcome to the event, private transportation to the event, and everything else we mentioned earlier. So, you also get tickets
with wrestlers.
That's not bad. You get tickets to SmackDown and Raw as well. That's got to be worth $5,000 a piece. So that's only $30,000 you're paying.
Do you get like to travel with the wrestlers? Or like what's going on?
Do you get to wrestle on SummerSlam? I mean, I wanted to try and go this year because it's in New York, New Jersey, whatever you would call it, MetLife Stadium. I
wanted to go as well, but
the prices that I've seen
are for the rich.
Yeah, they have already outpriced casual fans, and this is going to hurt them soon. They're pushing so heavily on them. Hey, you know, the breaking gates, breaking records, most money made, and yeah, if you're making the most money, sure, but. That's a bit ridiculous.
If you're rich, you can go. If you're poor, they say fuck off.
Exactly. A family of four, you're not bringing kids anymore to this. This is not like, hey, wrestling's coming to town. You have to plan. You have to, like, this is a maybe once a year thing, if not once a multi-year thing that you can do.
Like, I rather just use that money, if I have that kind of money, plan a 2-week trip to Florida and do Disney and stuff like that.
Exactly. Go make memories instead of going to a 2-night, 4-hour show each night. Exactly. I mean, it better come with more than just that. I mean, you can meet the wrestlers at meet and greets and whatnot. So that's
free,
not
right?
that. Not anymore. No, you have to pay with TKO. They used to do some free meet and greets,
really?
but now
I thought they did like the cricket ones for like.
Nope. Even those you have to pay too now. Everything costs. You have to pay for a photo or just to do the regular meet and greet.
Any wrestler, like I know I talked to them, but no offense to any wrestler, you're not worth $400 to go meet.
No, you shouldn't be paying that anyways. You should be meeting your fans for free. They're paying for you to get your merch, to pay for you to see the shows. And I mean, I met tons of stars growing up, and the most they ever made you
money,
buy,
right? Because they get money for you meeting them, and they're gonna charge you to meet them.
Yeah. It's certainly it's It's a bit
like, who do these
insulting
people
and
think?
abysmal.
Like, who do they think they are? Like,
Even with UFC,
that
this
goes
is
for all
happening
wrestling.
too, and this is all TKO's doing. UFC is going through the same thing, where fans used to be able to go on a weekend. Hey, they're in Vegas, let's get, but not anymore. And those were
Like, you
already
have to pay to
expensive.
see me. Like, the only reason why you're something is because of us. Now we have to pay to see you.
Exactly. And it's not just like, oh, they're paying at WWE World. No, even just the regular signings now, anything to do with Fanatics especially is ridiculously expensive. And it's even more of like a conveyor line meet and greet now where they have you. Yeah, Foley was only 90 for a photo op and an autograph in the Springfield Comic-Con, but 90. You shouldn't even be paying that, and you pay entry to these places like the Comic-Cons. You should be able just to meet these people. It should be all inclusive, but crazy that you have to spend that much for a photo op. And the photo ops, like I said, it's a conveyor belt. You get 9 seconds to interact with them. Hey, how are you? Click, bye, and you get your photo. So is it worth it? Yes, maybe. To some people, I don't know. It's certainly...
I'm never paying $40,000.
Even if I had the money, I wouldn't be willing to do that, certainly. And
because
I don't know.
All these wrestlers will get an ego too, like they're worth.
Absolutely, granted, they have, and it shows lately, certainly. I mean, you got Liv Morgan telling gross wrestling fans to take a shower online, but she's not wrong. Like, all y'all are dirty, you're smelling.
I
don't get. She's like, I don't let y'all get close to me. I don't blame her.
Smell y'all's dirt.
Yeah, she's like, I don't let any men get close to me because I'm like Daddy Dom, so I don't get in the vicinity to smell y'all's nastiness. Take a shower.
She probably had to deal with a few stinkers at.
So there were. I know Cora Jade.
World or whatever.
When Cora Jade was flying to Vegas, she said she sat next to a couple of fans on the plane and they reeked. She's like, have you not heard of deodorant? I don't understand why people are so against bodily hygiene in the wrestling universe,
because when you take a photo, it's like kind of like you put your shoulder on their shoulder, and like that's how all pictures do. And like like Liv, Cora, for example, that's what they have to do with these fans. They have to let these fans put their arm around their shoulder, and they stank.
Absolutely. See, Kratos has got the right idea.
They'll end up stinking because people say wrestlers will end up stinking because they've been accused of smelling. Yeah, because they were against a bunch of stinky people and it got trapped on them.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there used to be a real, argument in the back. You had to wash your gear, make sure you didn't smell. That's why they were so against Vader. Because he would not wash his gear, and he was a big guy, and he sweat, and he stunk. That's part of the reason Shawn Michaels did not want to work with Vader. And Bret Hart wasn't going to turn heel. They were going to keep Bret face, and Vince was like, "Here, I'm gonna make you a list of who you'll work with as a heel and who you'll work with as a face." And apparently, Bret saw out the list, and he saw that he was going to be working with Vader if he stayed face, and he's like, "Nah, I'll go heel." So that's how much people didn't want to work with Vader, not just because he was a stiff shooter.
Because he stunk?
Because he stunk, too, yeah. So that's a dark side of the ring fact for you. Sami Zayn gets a pep talk backstage by Jey Uso. Jay's basically telling him, hey, you got a big decision to make, but whatever decision you make, it's going to be what's best for you, and that's what it should be. They hug and embrace each other, and Sami thanks him, saying that's what he needs. Then, into somewhere, Logan Paul drops Jay with that titanium fist. Our God, Logan Paul, the YouTube God himself, graced us with his presence. We love it. Paul called it karma. I call it vengeance. Thank you, Logan Paul, for saving us. Am I doing good yet? Am I getting that Prime money? And that's when they announced Penta versus JD. I'm getting there. Getting there. Got to get that sponsorship money up.
What do you think of Powerade?
Powerade sucks. We got to get into the
even worse.
Gatorade's the devil. Do you like Prime? Do you like staying hydrated? We could sell it. I'm telling you. Paul, hit us up. So now we get the main event already. A short Raw.
Actually, Paul, if you ever come across this, I would like to dress up in a Prime bottle for $1 million.
I know he offered Stone Cold $1 million to do it at Mania. I'll do it gladly.
Yeah, me and you would do it for $1 million.
I'd do it like one of those horse costumes with you, where I would be like the ass end of the prime bottle, and you could be the cap and the head. You could sit on my shoulders.
Yeah.
It'd be great. I'd let Randy Orton
Do it
throw
together,
us.
$1 million.
Yeah, he could throw us through a table.
By everyone.
Logan Paul can attach us to a drone and fly us out over the audience. It'd be great. Great.
I would love it. Let's do it.
The ultimate glazing, absolutely. No, Kratos is right. If you got that kind of money, he would give his parents an actual honeymoon. My wife and I never went on a honeymoon. Damn it, I'm down for that too. If we had that kind of money, we wouldn't be wasting 40 grand on a wrestling show. I've never been to Mania. You know, a lot of people have. It's a bucket list dream for me. I would love to get there, but like I said,
want to go to a Mania again, like with a legitimate WrestleMania crowd feel.
Yeah,
I went to the first crowd back. That was like a quarter of attendance because there was limited capacity. So I want to go, and that wasn't supposed to happen. I went to a Mania, and I wasn't even supposed to go.
Yeah, you lucked out, just like you getting the MSG show. You know, you luck out and managed to get these, you know, chances to go ahead and have some great memories, certainly. And even though it was not the usual Mania crowd, you still got to see the pirate ship blow up, and you got some great matches there. Oh, yeah. So it was a good Mania, 37
the Bianca
overall.
And Tasha night one main event was fucking amazing.
Yeah, they killed it, certainly. And she still used her hair like a goddamn weapon. Should have been disqualified, but
I don't understand how that is not a weapon, but
none of us do. None of us do. It gives Spaz a heart attack every time. And make sure you're subscribed to the Spaz Phoenix YouTube channel, because him and I will be going ahead and talking about everything NXT TNA this week on the state of wrestling. So you can find all the info in the description box down below. Thank you guys for hanging out. And we're on the main event already. Short Raw tonight. It was about 2.5 hours. Most of the Netflix Raws are going about that, 220, 230, 240. None of them, except for the Go Home show, I believe, to Mania, hit anywhere near 3 hours. So, Over the Edge 99 was your first event, Kratos. Well, yeah, as a 6-year-old child, that would haunt me too. That's moving on. So we get the main event. Seth Rollins and the New Dangerous Alliance get out there. They're gonna talk this out. They're gonna be men. And he says, "I'm gonna have Sammy come out here." So his music hits. Sammy comes out. And he's like, "You're putting me in a tough spot. You know, we go way back, and I don't want to see anything happen to you, Sammy. You know, I don't like that. You know that you don't like Braun Breaker or Heyman, really. You know, or that you don't get them. But this is me, and I know you don't agree with it, but me, Heyman, Braun, this is the best vision for the future of WWE." Yep. He said, I wish we had someone better, but there's no one better to lead them into the future. He's like, and you not believing in me, it hurts. This business, it tears friendships apart. And he's like, you're the one true friend that I've made in this business. And you're one of the first people I called after my daughter was born. And, you know, you're a new father. And, you know, I'm forever grateful for the advice that you gave me. And, you know, I want to let you return that favor by offering the same advice that could save your life. I want you to take whatever Heyman had lined up for you on SmackDown and go. Because if you stay, and anyone that doesn't believe in me, bad things will happen. So please take the out. Sammy grabs a mic and he says, I know you, and you're dangling the WWE Championship in front of me because you know me, and you know how bad I want to win it. That's something I've never been able to do, and I've never captured that glory. And now, I'm asking you, have you ever known me to run away? Are you threatening me? Because I've been a target thousands of times before, but I can't live with being blackmailed. And he says, I will not be threatened. I will win a WWE championship. I will be a world champion. And when I do, it will not be because of any favors or anyone. It'll be because of
Sami
me.
Zayn.
Mm-hmm. And this is me.
His fucking ground.
Right? And he's so just passionate and cutting this great promo, getting the crowd behind him. Everybody's at a fever pitch. He says, this is me telling you to go to hell. we already got 2 gigantic, serious F-bombs from Pat McAfee. Told, Gunther to go fuck himself, and, he said that he's the real fucking man. So we got those censored bombs before.
Michael Cole, I don't think he was supposed to say, if you saw Michael Cole's face, he's like, okay.
Cole looked a little flustered, but as soon as he tells Sammy...
But they're not going to say anything because that's Pat McAfee being Pat.
Yeah, as soon as he gives Sammy the option here, and Sammy says, go to hell, we hear Braun Breaker's siren hit, the theme comes, and we know. Our dogs are barking. It's time to die. Now we get the match. Braun Breaker taking on Sami Zayn. He's in his street clothes still, so he's just got his dress pants on. Kind of an odd look, but I get what they were going for. And this was less of a match and more about just punishing Sami Zayn. So, they're like, you have Michael Cole explaining, he's like, I understand why Braun Breaker joined Paul Heyman because of what Heyman did for Roman and Lesnar and Punk and everybody else. Funny, nobody ever brings up Mr. Perfect's son, He was with Curtis Axel for a little bit of time. He was a Paul Heyman guy, but that didn't work. And that's when
I wonder what happened with that, because I think they tried, right?
They tried, and he just didn't get over with the audience. It didn't work, sadly. They wanted it to, and it was very heavy-handed, and it felt forced, and the fans knew, it doesn't really feel like Paul believes fully in this guy. He's just been paired with him. At least that's how it came across on TV. It was never conveyed.
Paul doesn't like it. He can just run to Vince, and Paul gets his way.
And I mean, that could have been the case, but Juan's got that right. This was all about the destruction of Sami Zayn. He gets just decimated. First, he gets his head just smashed into the broadcast table, and that's when Braun Breaker climbs up to the apron of the ring and leaps from the apron to the announce table, clotheslining Sami Zayn in the process, sending him and Braun Breaker himself tumbling over the top, heading into the commercial break. They come back, and we see Sami Zayn getting a quick sunset powerbomb from the ropes, and that gets a good near fall. But I mean, the fans are trying to get behind Sami Zayn. We see the Fireflies picking up, which was funny, but eventually he's trying to go ahead and he's trying to cut off Braun Breaker, but he ends up being given a huge Frankensteiner. Sammy's laid out from that, lowers the straps, goes for the spear, but Sammy kicks him and hits a big exploder suplex. He goes for his haluva kick finisher, but Breaker is just too damn fast. And that's when you see Seth look over at Braun. He nods to him, and that's when he spears him, and he does it again. So now we're 2 spears in deep. And that's when Seth goes near Sammy, and he tells him, he's like, it doesn't have to be this way. He's got his little whiny voice. Come on. He's like, there's still time, Sammy. He's like, come on. And you've got Seth just screaming at him, take the deal, take the deal. And that's when Sami Zayn goes, go to hell, screaming at the top of his lungs. And he pulls himself to his feet just to get speared again. Brutal. Braun Breaker ripping him to shreds. And this is when he rolls out to the floor. He's holding his sides. The referee comes over, and they're ready to call it. They're trying to get medical help. And that's when Jamie Noble, I guess he's the doctor now, comes out, and he's checking on Sammy. And they get the security out there. And that's when Braun Breaker runs around the ring and spears Sammy again. Rolls him in the ring, covers him, and that's it. But Breaker said, that's not it. You can deal with the ref stoppage. I'm not even going to pin him. The ref calls it. The ref stops the match. Sami Zayn can't take no more. And that's why these evil fans are chanting one more time. I hate that. I do. Because they're caring about Sammy getting destroyed. And they're watching, one of their heroes, as I said, just get completely decimated from top to bottom. He has been speared to the point where his guts are destroyed. I'm surprised I didn't have him coughing up blood to really sell it home. And now they go ahead and you see him again. Rollins hits a big stomp after, more attack, and they stand in front of him. Music hits. And that's it. That was Raw. So, I mean, you have WWE's one of the most beloved underdogs, and you got the fans chanting one more time. And that's almost as bad to me as the "you fucked up" chants. I like sometimes botches do deserve to be called out, but when they're attempting in the ring to get things done on a live broadcast and a mistake happens, I was never big into chanting that and making the wrestlers, feel like shit when they're trying to provide us entertainment. Maybe I'm a bit of a softie, but hearing the "one more time" chant is because that bastard Braun Breaker he's so impressive. He has the aura of a badass, and he is a legitimate badass. He lost the IC title because he couldn't, stop someone else from getting pinned. So really, he wasn't even defeated himself. Still, he lost the match, but he stands tall still, essentially. I mean, this man is a wrecking crew, and I don't know who they're going to get to stop him at this part. And I'm also curious if they're going to add to this faction. A lot of people are thinking that Becky Lynch will be added. Some people thinking that she's going to be like the mastermind behind it. I wouldn't go that far, but just like they have to get rid of Seth's face theme, they might have to get rid of Braun Breaker barking, because the fans are adoring him. They love him. They want to see him destroy people. Here's
the thing. This is what
he's going to be a bad guy.
They wanted because they made him had him be a face for the last few months, basically, right?
He was a heel that was doing face things, and the fans just wanted to watch him beat ass and chew bubblegum.
He was a heel, but he was mainly feuding with other heels, which made him a face.
Exactly. He was feuding with Dom and Finn, who were heels. Penta's a face, but still, you wanted to see him just go ahead and be a total badass. Juan wants Roxy to join. Roxy and Julia would be interesting, especially building towards the future. That's how you do it. A lot of this, though, I like it. Very heavy on the heel side of things. A lot of heat. Lyra was attacked. Logan Paul attacked Jey Uso again afterwards. Sami Zayn was destroyed. We're seeing what they're going for in the future, but they still managed to make some interesting feuds heading into Backlash. I like what they're giving us for that coming up. It seems like the pay-per-view is going to be good. I mean, at least on paper so far. I'm excited to see what we get from Cena and from Randy Orton. Like you said, some people are thinking it needs a stipulation. I'm not so sure. John pretty much made this known that this is it. This is the last time you're going to see these two face off. This is his one and only shot. Doesn't feel like Randy's winning in front of his hometown, certainly, but they could always surprise us. Night of Heels going over tonight indeed, Kratos. I love it, though. We needed a heel-heavy night so that we can get behind our faces. Lyra, again, not a total disappointment, but I felt like she could have gotten more sympathy out of the fans. She seemed a little nervous, but hopefully she'll continue to get better. I love the match between Rhea and Roxanne. I just wish we got a finish, but it only makes me want to see them face off again in the future.
She was talking like she was definitely nervous, I noticed.
Yeah, she didn't come across totally confident, and that also is because she's not really spoken much on TV. She's not had much promo time, so this is a good way to cut her teeth.
With it.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Becky tried to keep it easy on her.
Yes,
because Becky's decent, very, very well decent on the mic. She can cut a promo.
Yeah, usually I'm not a fan of her style, but she does a decent job. But this was good. All of this made sense. She had legitimate gripes.
Becky she slipped up a little. Becky had every time to bury her, and I think she was letting Lyra try to cut a promo.
Yeah, so, she could have cut her off. She could have snarped in and basically sniped away. But no, she gave her a chance to talk. Yeah, absolutely. So, all in all, we got a heel-heavy Raw, but an enjoyable show. I would give this an 8 out of 10. I'm excited to see Pat McAfee and Gunther. I love when Pat took on Adam Cole in NXT, and then the War Games match. We saw him have a great match at Mania against Austin Theory. So, we know Pat can go. He'll deliver. Gunther, no slouch. That's going to be a ton of fun. Lyra and Becky. Looks like Becky might be taking that title to really make something out of it. And we'll see what other matches they add. I mean, there's certainly time for them to build up a few more feuds or things to go into it.
For right now, we got John Cena and Randy Orton announced, right?
Yes.
We got Pat and Gunther. Is that official?
That is official.
All right. We got I think that's actually going to be a very decent match. Some people don't like it, but Pat's good in the ring.
He is. Like I just said, all those matches he had, he was always entertaining. He started off strong, and from there,
that's gonna be a good match.
Absolutely.
So Becky and Lyra.
Yep. John Cena and Randy.
Those three are announced. I'm assuming we're gonna do Seth and Braun Breaker versus Punk and Roman, right?
I don't know if we'll get that at Backlash.
It's gonna be like a 6-man tag.
I think they're gonna save that.
Team with. You think so?
I think they're gonna save that for a bit. You might see Sammy team up with somebody else, and then eventually it comes down to it. But I think they want to save that for a really big show. That's my guess.
Who would Sammy team with?
That's a good question. I mean, they had him in back with Otis. That's not a great idea. Jay is busy in another feud. Jimmy wouldn't be bad, or Punk. I mean, I would try and hold off on Punk for a bit because you want to see him with Roman. It seems like Jimmy's a good choice. Jimmy's a real stable choice. So they had Ludwig Kaiser doing an interview in between he cut a promo like in the commercial break. So those that are watching internationally,
I don't understand. Maybe I don't get it. Why do international crowds get commercial free and we don't? What's the difference between us and them?
I wish we knew why we didn't get that. I guess just because they don't want to give us the commercial breaks. But yeah, Ludwig Kaiser cutting a great promo according to people online. So I'm interested to see what he said there. And like I said, last week we had the New Day and Karrion Kross. Their story ended with a nod of respect. He said, "You guys listened. I showed you the vision. They listened and they trusted Kross, and now they're tag team champions. They turned heel." So Kross just tweeted out, he said, "The New Day and Karrion Kross's story officially ended with a nod of respect and acknowledgement." Hey, look at that. He showed them the vision. They listened eventually. Trust Kross because it pays off. And, now we just need Kross in the ring. And someone said, "We need him in the ring, bro." And he said, "Patience, dear boy." So they have plans for him. They have things they want to do. I'm looking forward to it. That's one of those ones where I'm like, all right, take me on the ride. Apparently, we're supposed to get some type of starting return this Friday on SmackDown from the Wyatt Six. So they're supposed to be starting to build that. And I'm hearing that Alexa Bliss might be the leader of that faction. A little weird, interesting, but could be fun, certainly. And I'm kind of excited to see what happens. I mean, we haven't seen the Wyatt Six in some time now. Bo was injured, and I had hoped that they would not keep them all off TV, but unfortunately they did. Now we got to see where it goes going forward. Kaiser could join Braun and Seth's group, and I can see him. I can see that working absolutely.
I really think though in the end, Seth and Braun and Heyman need to be in an alliance with Cena.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see if I could share this so you can hear it. We got Kathy Kelly interviewing.
Pierce seems to favor other people over his fastest rising superstar.
Calling himself the fastest rising superstar.
I gotta tell all of you, I am sick and tired of that.
He's sick and tired
of the disrespect.
Ludwig Kaiser is underappreciated.
Ludwig Kaiser is being overlooked.
He's being overlooked, underappreciated. He's not wrong, and he's certainly starting to make a name for himself. Him and Tiffy Time.
Me! Look at me! Ludwig Kaiser
He's so good.
is the greatest German expert since Mercedes-Benz, and everybody...
He said he's the greatest German export since Mercedes-Benz. Oh, I like that. So... yeah, he's really doing good, speaking his mind. I like that they're letting cut promos in a way where it's just them airing their gripes and speaking their minds. I need more of this. I like it. Sign me up. Let's get it on. Let's see what the last bit he's got to say here. Everybody here knows what he says.
Thank you so much, Ludwig. to get back to the action.
He just stands there looking, holding his finger. He overlooked at Burger King. He might be, but, you know, he's got talent.
Those promos are a little harder because it's like literal perfect. You have to time it perfect because they have to get to the next.
Exactly. You only have so long in the commercial break to get to it, but the Val Venus
like
promo, but with talent, like yes. The Val Venus promo.
Like Roman, Seth, Cena, like they can go over their time, kind of people like that.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you're not wrong.
They don't have to follow that.
Brian Alvarez went off on the AEW sickos before. People are saying, yikes. He's not wrong, though, because some of the fans were upset that they're showing like replay packages from last week. And it's like, oh, we should reward the viewers that actually watched the show and not clue in the people that decided not to watch because it's WrestleMania week. So you want to alienate the fans that are tuning in by not having anything be explained because they didn't see the week before, and you wonder why your viewership is dropping, and now you have to compete with a 10-year-old Marvel movie and get bumped. Not looking good for AEW, certainly. You know, why don't they just air it on Max exclusively with the other 85 billion viewers they get a week, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. The AEW pay-per-views, you're saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's all of it. Backlash, Dynamite, you know, we'll have
like
it all combined.
There was 85 billion, I think, but next week I heard like this week's supposed to be 175 trillion, you know?
Jesus, that's more than a trillion lions taking on one gorilla, you know? Never mind one son, but they're saying SmackDown's viewership was down from the week before. They got 1.599 million viewers on the USA Network. The Go Home episode received 1.741 million viewers, so they finished with a 0.51 rating in the all-important 18 to 49 demo. Down a little bit, but that's to be expected. I figured they wouldn't go down as much being the SmackDown after Mania, but they didn't have a lot besides the TLC match really to make people tune in. WWE's star and legend Rey Mysterio underwent surgery today. So the WWE star shared on Instagram that he would undergo surgery to repair his torn abductor muscles. And apparently the surgery was a success. This was when he was pulled from the ring by Julius Creed on the SmackDown before WrestleMania 41. Like we said, that Go Home show. He was replaced by Phoenix on WrestleMania, who lost to El Grande Americano. We brought that up earlier. They said the recovery time depends on the severity of the tear, so he's looking at a minimum of 6 to 8 months, apparently. And really, with Rey, I don't know how much more he has in him, to be honest, at this point in time. So certainly it's a bit alarming that he had to go for surgery again, but I genuinely hope he's okay and that everything is a total success. I usually don't bring up the non-wrestling stuff on here, as you know, but I'm going to toot my own horn. So I went ahead and I love police body cam videos. I watch them constantly on YouTube. You know, I've always had a affinity towards police. My uncle was a police officer, ran the family kind of idea. So I always wanted to see what was going on. And I like, you know, watching the body cam footage and seeing what's happening. And
Oh, you stupid, fat, fucking white privileged mother!
yeah, that's right. So this girl went ahead and she went nuts. Basically, she gets pulled over and you can't make this stuff up. She gets pulled over and she parks her car and gets out of it. And she's like, oh, you can't pull me over now. I'm already out of my car. I'm not driving. Like suddenly that's your get out of jail free card. I'm not driving, so you can't pull me over. Whatever. And she proceeds to the entire time, and they cut this down too for YouTube, scream, and her voice never cracks. Like the voice of an angered angel, she just screeches the entire time. So I had to go ahead and edit it and turn it into some Karen core, and that's what I did on my latest YouTube short here. Yeah, even. Oh, God. She was trying to get one of the officers to have a ticket because he apparently didn't use his blinker coming out of the parking lot when she followed them. So, hilarious thing. Make sure you're subscribed and checking out the shorts below.
The fucking cracked me up earlier when I was...
Karen Core, my friend. Karen Core had to be turned into a metal breakdown. Any other comments, my friend, on Raw tonight?
Great.
I gotta make it fun.
No, not really. I mean, just a lot of cliffhangers and turning into next week to see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Next week, like we said, we got, Penta and JD. We've got Rusev being the Redeemer going up against Otis. That's going to be a great time. And I'm certainly excited. I'm also excited for Into Somewhere Weekly. Tomorrow night, you and I will be doing the NXT review as well as going over all of the latest wrestling news and rumors. We'll be talking about upcoming possibilities for matches at Backlash and other pay-per-views going forward, as well as a bunch of information.
I want to...
Yeah, about Worlds Collide.
SummerSlam, Worlds Collide too. I want to do it for SummerSlam, really early. I want to
absolutely
see what we can do.
In the next 2 weeks, we'll get a group of people together and do a big early predictions roundtable like we did for WrestleMania. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
I think I want to see how far out it is. I want to just see
how close we can get.
Now.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what happens there and see how accurate or how close we are to predicting what the actual card might be. And we got 2 nights of SummerSlam, so there's a lot of matches to have there. Most likely they'll have what they did at Mania, around 14, maybe 6 a night and do 12, but it'll be about that. So we'll have a lot of possibilities. We'll get everybody together that wants to join, and it'll be a great time. Cody, let the people know where they can find you, my friend.
You can find me over on Twitter or X, whatever you like to call it nowadays, at Judgment Day Era. And you can find me over on my Instagram at Cody_Onidi_316.
Absolutely. And you can go ahead and find me on Twitter, on Instagram, on Rumble, at Countdown Ended. Here on YouTube, Jake Countdown Ended DeMarco. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell because we'll be live again throughout the week. I appreciate you all tuning in. I'd give Raw an 8 out of 10. It was a very fun night. A lot of heel heat, but in the best way possible. Yeah, they're building for the future.
Big night for the heels.
Absolutely. But like I said, best way possible.
You can't always have the faces go over, which faces really shouldn't be going over every week. That's not what a face's job is. The heel for the weekly shows should be the ones mainly going over, and the faces get that big moment at like a pay-per-view or something.
Exactly.
Overcoming the heels.
You nailed it. So
that's how wrestling is, but
just like Pico, I want to take you to the gay bar. At the gay bar, I got something to put in you at the gay bar. All right, we won't get into it, but Electric Six, great song.
We can't be revealing our next.
I know we can't be talking about this on air, but folks, thank you so much for tuning in and checking us out. I hope you all have a great night. Stay sexy, and we'll see you tomorrow night. That's right, we'll be live Into Somewhere Weekly. Go ahead and hit it. We'll see you then, folks. Have a great night.